A flickering beam of my flashlight cut through the thick, dusty air of Blackwood Asylum's main entrance. Liam was right behind me, his heavy breathing the only sound besides the crunch of broken glass under our boots. Maya and Chloe were further back, giggling nervously, their phone screens casting a weak glow that barely touched the shadows. "You guys sure about this?" Chloe whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Liam scoffed. "Don't tell me you're getting scared already, Chloe. It's just an old, empty building." But it didn't feel empty. The air was cold, unnaturally so for a summer night. And a feeling of being watched prickled the back of my neck. We pushed deeper. Past overturned gurneys and medical charts scattered like dead leaves, a faded sign on the wall. Red Pediatrics Ward. That's where the stories said it all happened, the place where Nurse Alistair supposedly lost her mind. As we stepped into the Pediatrics Ward, a row of rusted cribs stood like skeletal sentinels. The faint smell of antiseptic still clung to the air, mixed with something else, something sweet and cloying. Like old perfume, Maya dared to peek into one of the cribs. "Hey, look at this," she said, pulling out a small, grimy teddy bear with one button eye. As soon as her fingers touched it, a door at the far end of the hallway slammed shut. We all jumped. Chloe screamed, a short, sharp sound that was swallowed by the sudden. Oppressive silence. It was just the wind, Liam insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. He didn't sound so brave anymore. I swept my flashlight beam towards the door. It was heavy, solid oak, no draft could have slammed it that hard. Then we heard it, a soft, humming sound, a lullaby. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, a woman's voice. Gentle yet deeply unsettling, the humming grew louder, echoing through the long, dark corridor. It was a simple tune, one you'd sing to a child. But here, in this decaying place, it was terrifying. "We need to go," I said, my voice barely a whisper, now. We turned to leave, but the main door we'd entered through was gone. In its place was a solid brick wall, as if a door had never been there at all. Panic set in. Chloe started to cry, her sobs muffled against Maya's shoulder. Liam frantically pounded his fists against the brick, the dull thuds echoing the frantic beat of my own heart. "There has to be another way out," he yelled, his voice cracking. The humming stopped. For a moment, there was only the sound of our panic breathing. Then a new sound began. A slow, rhythmic creak of a rocking chair. My light found it in the corner of the ward. An old wooden rocking chair, moving back and forth on its own, empty. The rocking chair swayed faster and faster, its creaking a frantic rhythm in the dead silence. Then, as abruptly as it began, it stopped. The lullaby started again. But this time it was different. It wasn't humming anymore. It was singing, with words, hush. "Little one, don't you cry." The voice was right behind me. I spun around, my flashlight beam cutting a wild arc, but there was nothing there. Just empty space. But I felt it. A cold breath on my neck. Chloe shrieked, pointing a shaking finger down the hall. A figure stood at the far end, shrouded in shadows, just beyond the reach of our lights. It was tall and slender, wearing what looked like an old-fashioned nurse's uniform. We couldn't see a face, just a dark, indistinct shape. It didn't move. It just stood there, not watching, not waiting. The temperature dropped even further, and I could see my own breath fogging in the air. The figure of the nurse began to drift towards us, not walking, but gliding over the debris-strewn floor as if floating on air. The lullaby got louder, the voice now filled with a chilling, possessive tone. "Mama's going to sing you a lullaby." We were paralyzed, frozen by a fear so pure it felt like ice in our veins. Liam finally broke the spell. "Run," he screamed. Grabbing Chloe's hand and pulling her towards a side corridor, Maya and I scrambled after them, all flashlights bouncing crazily, creating a dizzying strobe effect of peeling paint and rusted metal. We burst through a pair of swing doors into what looked like an old operating theater. A single, bare bulb flickered erratically overhead, casting long. Dancing shadows from the surgical table in the center of the room, we slammed the doors shut, leaning against them with all our weight, our hearts hammering against our ribs. For a second, there was silence. Then A slow, deliberate scratching started on the other side of the door. Scratch, scrape, scratch. The scratching on the door was relentless. Like fingernails dragging down a chalkboard, we backed away. Huddling together in the center of the operating theater, the single light bulb above us buzzed and flickered, threatening to plunge us into total darkness. What was that thing? Maya whimpered. Before anyone could answer, the scratching stopped. We held our breath. A small, metallic click echoed through the room. It was the sound of the small observation window on the door sliding open. I couldn't stop myself. I looked. A pair of eyes stared back at me from the small glass pane. They weren't human. They were completely black, devoid of any white or iris, just two pools of infinite darkness. And they were filled with an ancient, malevolent hatred. A scream tore from my throat, a raw, primal sound of pure terror. The face disappeared. The bulb above us exploded, showering us with sparks and plunging the room into absolute blackness. And from the darkness, right beside us, the lullaby began again. Hush, little one. We scattered in the pitch-black chaos, screaming and stumbling over unseen obstacles. I could hear Chloe's terrified sobs, Liam's frantic shouts, and the sickeningly sweet lullaby that seemed to follow each of us. My hands found a cold, metal handle, a door. I yanked it open and stumbled through, slamming it behind me. I was in a small supply closet, the darkness absolute. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers shaking too much to work the screen. I finally got the flashlight on, the sudden beam revealing shelves lined with dusty jars and medical supplies. I pressed my back against the door, trying to quiet my ragged breathing. The lullaby was fainter here, muffled. I heard a scream from the other room, Maya's voice. Cut off abruptly, silence, then a soft tapping started on the closet door. Tap, tap, tap. I know you're in there. The voice whispered, no longer singing, but speaking in a dry, rustling tone. It's time for your medicine. The doorknob began to turn.